I am Gina Ahrens. I'm a mixed media artist, watercolorist, and YouTuber, and I'm here to talk to you about Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists. This happens to be stone, I think, and actually it's a color I'm not going to use today, but it has the right bottle with a label on it. We all love glimmer mist. We love our sprays. Spraying them through a stencil onto a page or a card or a scrapbooking layout is a really fabulous way to use them. We love that they're sparkly and have some shimmer, and they come in a huge wide variety range of colors. But did you know that you can watercolor with them? Yes, you can. My favorite way to use my Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit, is to, when I have them out and I'm spraying with them, or another thing that I like to do with them is just take the nozzle off and drip them with the end of the nozzle onto a page and create drips and splatters. When I'm doing that and I have them open, instead of tossing out anything that may spill, I dry it into a plastic palette like this one. These are dried glimmer mists, and then I can save that and I can use it later to create watercolors with. These are actually the colors that are in this tray. Now these colors in most cases are slightly contaminated. I over poured or spilled one of the browns. They also change a little bit when they dry like this and you reconstitute them. The color, I think, just changes just slightly, but not too much. But you can definitely watercolor with them, and it's very easy to reconstitute them and create interesting, wonderful paintings and works of art. And yes, this was done with glimmer mist, colored pencil, a white gel pen, and a Sharpie pen. That's it. Just these things. Fabulous, right? We're going to do something a little simpler. We're going to do a flower, really quick tutorial. I'm going to prove it to you. Now, when I create any watercolor palette, whether it's with Tattered Angels or any other paint, I always do a sample on a piece of watercolor paper so I can see what the colors are going to look like on the paper I'm going to work on. Always a good idea. I'm using the Ken Oliver Water Media paper, which is really great paper. Comes in a lot of different sizes and configurations. This happens to be a pack of 6x6 inch sheets. And I usually start out with some kind of light sketch. In this case, we're going to just do, kind of a flowery shape. And when I do the sketches, preliminary sketch, whether I'm doing a face or a landscape or a flower, no matter how complicated or simple the composition may be, I always do some kind of preliminary, simple, quick sketch. I don't want to put too many details because I want the details to be in the paint or suggested. I want to just do it quickly. And I always use some kind of weird color like turquoise or orange or something like that. Something more interesting than just graphite. So now I'm going to take my watercolor paints, and this is my colors that I have in this palette. I'm going to always start out with my lightest color. I've got a plate here that I can mix some paints on, and I'm going to take a little bit of the orange color and pick it up with my brush, and it's really easy to reconstitute. You just get it wet. This is a water brush. It has water in the handle. I gave it a little squeeze to get some water in there, and as soon as water hits it, it constitutes it and makes it back into an ink. I'm going to add a little more water. And with any watercolor, Tattered Angels included, the more water you add to it, the lighter the color will be. And I'm going to start, actually, by doing this. Right? I'm going to take a regular brush. I have some water right here. It's kind of hiding. And this is just plain water. And this is a regular watercolor brush. This is a Grumbacher number 5 round. And I'm going to, just with the water, I'm going to push the pigment from the Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist around. And you always, with any watercolor painting, start with your lightest color, your lightest value, and work your way darker. With watercolor, you can't take it back or cover it up easily. And then I'm going to stick with that same color for a minute. Now the paint is going to go where the water goes. it's not going to easily go onto the dry paper. So if you don't want it to go somewhere, don't get that part of the paper wet, or dry it before you put the next color on. And you can just let it dry naturally, or you can use a heat embossing tool. That'll work. Heat embossing tool will work great. Just don't get it too close to the paper. Keep it moving around. And we're going to just be quick and suggestive, hopefully. You can take more time with this and get more details in here, whatever makes you happy. But these glimmer mists are really neat and interesting, and you know, they have a little bit of sparkle and shimmer in them, so it's a really fun medium to paint with. And yes, they do combine very well with other watercolor paints you may have in your stash of stuff. So we're going to go now with the pink, which of course, because it got it's dry and concentrated, it's also got a little bit of the brown in there. We got a little bit of the brown in there. So it's kind of a dusty gray pink now instead of how bright it was right out of the bottle. And I'm going to use some of that in the flower center. You don't have to dry them in a palette to use them for a watercolor. You can use them straight out of the bottle. If you want part of your painting to be white, leave it white. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back in with some gel pen. I'm going to take my orange and my pink straight out of the bottle. I'm going to shake them up. You want to shake them this way so you don't have all that mica go up into the tube of the spray head and clog it. And I'm going to dip my brush right into the orange paint. And that's the difference between the dried and fresh out of the bottle. And I'm going to just highlight a few petals. And anywhere where it's not being blendy enough or suggestive the way I want, I'm going to add some more water. Nature paintings are fun because they don't have to be perfect. Nature's not perfect. It's not perfectly round. It's not perfectly shaped. So you can let go and you can have some freedom with the composition. I love drips and splatters. I love to just bang it like that, and you get all these fun drips and splatters. I'm going to take some of our pink, and these are both going to be considerably brighter out of the bottle than they were out of the dried pan, as you can see. There's the pink. But just because it got contaminated in the palette doesn't mean I toss it out. These blend with each other very nicely. Alright, and then I'm going to take, I have a little bit of a blue on here. It's called Dragonfly. It's a turquoisey blue. It's a beautiful blue. I'm going to add a little bit of that. And as you can see, I'm switching back and forth between my two brushes. You really can use any brush. Just get a little water in those dried paints. So there you go. Watercoloring with your Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists. It's a lot of fun, whether you do something abstract and expressive, or you do something that has a lot more detail, or you just do an abstract background. You definitely can watercolor with these. It's a lot of fun. Give it a try today. The link for where to buy your Tattered Angels Glimmer Mists should be in the description below. That's it for right now. Don't forget the most important thing. Go out and have a great day. Do something nice for yourself.